All right, boys, I got a bit of a cold. I'm recovering, but I do want to talk about the best SMG in the game, and that's Funnelweb. Now, originally, everyone assumed Funnelweb to just be the best PvE submachine gun, which it is very, very good. It's void. It pairs very, very nicely with volatile flow. It has that bystander origin trait, where the weapon has a small chance of reloading the mag when damaging an enemy. And of course, this increases movement speed while aiming down sights. And for like the first couple of weeks of Witch Queen, everyone was farming for this SMG. The god roll being that subsistence frenzy roll. But what if I told you Funnelweb, despite it having a 3.4 rating on LightGG, is arguably the best SMG inside of PvP? Now, big shout out to Corin for allowing me to get on his account. He has been hitting me up for a solid 2 weeks, and he was like, yo, man, I think this is the best SMG in the game. Please try it. And no lie, Corin, I was straight up ignoring you, thinking, yo, man, it's not. Shayura is still the best. Multi-Mac is still the best. And I actually thought one of the only contenders in this sandbox was really the raid SMG submission. Turns out, though, Funnelweb is absolutely disgusting. This row right here, guys, comes with small bore for that bump there in range and stability, accurized rounds for that bump there in range, perpetual motion, which by the way is so good. Even at 1 stack, perpetual motion is still adding tons of benefits with that 5 increase in stability, that increase in 10 handling, as well as that increase in 10 for reload. And those things essentially double at 2 stacks. But the final perk there is rangefinder, which is really not a common perk to find on a submachine gun. You did have some other ones, things like borrowed time, Death Adder, Every Waking Moment, Cold Front, but personally, I never really liked rangefinder on any of those. It just didn't mesh well with those SMGs. And I don't know what it is about Funnelweb, but rangefinder on this weapon is beautiful. Now, I personally think it has a lot to do with the fact that this weapon and its gun model is very similar to that of Recluse. And if y'all remember Recluse was fantastic at just maintaining consistency. Disregard how good Master of Arms was. Recluse was just very, very good at landing those consecutive crit shots, even outside of its range. But let's take some things that Funnelweb possesses over other SMGs, including that of Recluse. Number 1, it's zoom. By default, Funnelweb actually has a zoom of 14, which outranges a lot of other SMGs. Before we even begin to start taking into account the stats and rangefinder boosts, most SMGs sit around 13, outside of like Shayura and of course Multi-Mac, which gives you the ability to influence those scopes. But when we actually include rangefinder, this weapon goes from reaching up to 8.55 meters to with rangefinder cranking up to 20 meters. Now, of course, there are other SMGs that can reach that point and even go beyond that. I know Shayura can go beyond that, as well as Multi-Mac. And realistically, Funnelweb could actually go even further with say something like full bore, which would increase our range almost up to 22 meters. Now, this is substantial, especially for this archetype. That's the main thing to take away from this. This is a lightweight frame SMG. It shoots at 900 rounds per minute. And a lot of people don't know this, but the time to kill on these lightweight frames is 0.67 seconds. 9 crits, 2 body, you've got some added forgiveness there, and you got a bullet hose that can kill in 0.67 seconds, all the way up to dang near 22 meters. Fellas, I was farming with this gun, and I couldn't believe it, because originally I assumed Funnelweb to be more of a PvE weapon than a PvP weapon. But I can tell you, it goes both ways. Now, something that Funnelweb possesses that only Recluse actually possess is that fat reticle. Look, I don't know about you guys. I don't like small reticles. I don't like little pinpoint reticles. It just doesn't feel good. I like a reticle to be thick, round, and literally almost the size of my victim's head. There's something about that thick reticle, though, that allows you to easily find your target no matter what. You just don't lose visuals. Another thing that Funnelweb possesses, even more so than Recluse, is its ability to maintain crit shots even outside of that optimal range. There were multiple times I was in gunfights at 25 meters, yet Funnelweb was still putting in damage, still making contact, and even though we weren't necessarily reaching that 0.67 time to kill value, we were still getting the job done. Now, a beautiful thing about 900s, especially this archetype, these lightweights, is just the intrinsic benefits of that superb handling, that increase in movement speed. And even though I was playing a lot of this gameplay with Peacekeepers, you don't have to have Peacekeepers with Funnelweb because of it being a lightweight frame. And also, if you have a perpetual motion roll, I think you're just fine using any exotic with Funnelweb, or just simply using Funnelweb on any other class. It doesn't have to just be Titan specific. There were multiple times today, though, in Rumble matches where it was just absolutely crushing enemies and outclassing them. And this was going up against good players that it was doing this to. And I even found myself in duels against other weapons that do really, really good in Rumble. Things like the Summoner with Alacrity, multiple different hand cannons, Ace of Spades included. And even against god rolls like Shayura's Wrath, Funnelweb was surprisingly coming out on top, even in those moments where I had damage fall off. Because understand, precision frame frames sit at a 0.8 second time to kill value. And even though there's aggressives out there that have a 0.67 time to kill value, they require all crits, 9 crits actually. That's the beautiful thing about lightweight frames. You still have that TTK of 0.67, and you also have that forgiveness requiring only 9 crits and 2 body. Now, is Funnelweb even more disgusting than like pre-nerfed Recluse with Master of Arms? Again, personally, I think what made Recluse as good as it was originally was because it paired so well with Mountaintop. It was good in its own right, but because you were following up after landing a missile, a mini rocket launcher there, essentially with Mountaintop, it was easy cleanup. And once Master of Arms got rolling, it was definitely the nastiest weapon we've seen inside of Crucible. But after playing with this role, after playing with the God roll Funnelweb, guys, I would be hard pressed to even go back to pre-nerf Recluse. It's that ability to stretch in those great ranges while still maintaining that TTK value that lightweights dominantly have. Now, is this role that I showed you the God role? Is this definitely the role you're gonna want? Well, I think rangefinder is really, really nice. You don't have to have it, but you're adding on roughly 2 meters, maybe a little more, and that can go a really long way. Perpetual motion was also really, really nice, but I do wonder how well Killing Wind would actually stack here with things like rangefinder. You'll get that increase of plus 20 range, which almost damn near maxes it out. You'll also get that plus 50 in mobility, that increase in handling, also a removal there in that movement penalty. There's a lot of great benefits that Killing Wind offers, and you can imagine these two working simultaneously together, boosting that range even further. And I actually think with Killing Wind, you could potentially be looking at somewhere around like 24 meters once you get a kill going with rangefinder. But if you know how to close the gap, and it's really not hard given the maps that we have in rotation, if you know how to close that gap, perpetual motion all day long is very, very nice. It's just a free buff without requiring you to get a kill. It stacks even before the gunfight takes place. So again, I know there's a lot of SMGs in rotation. A lot of people look at Shiora's Wrath as well as Multi-Mac as being just the godsend of SMGs, the best of the best. And we even reviewed Teraba here recently, which got a buff this season. But I'm telling you fellas, if you get that God roll of Funnelweb inside of PvP, hands down, this weapon will carry you through the likes of Trials and regular Crucible. It will win 1v1s for you. It peppers opponents at ranges unheard of for its archetype, and its consistency reminds me of like pre-nerf Recluse. If y'all remember, like pre-nerf Recluse had like no recoil when fully throttling that weapon. Funnelweb here also possesses that ability. So guys, try it out for yourselves. I know this weapon is considered a PvE weapon, but as people begin to get God rolls of Funnelweb, and by God, hopefully you haven't deleted one already, as more people get God rolls of this SMG, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised how deadly it actually is. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.